Hello, beautiful people. We have a corker of an episode today. We have the wonderful Chris Blackwell on, and we talk about purpose. Purpose, what do you mean, Jay? Good question. Purpose, not just as a dictionary definition, not just as a word that we throw around left, right, and center, but specifically about purpose within business, purpose within personal life, and how to align that idea within the whole team. There's no point just the management saying, hey, this is our new purpose, and not actually filtering it down. And the same point, there's no point if you're going to implement a new idea, if you're not going to allow that to filter up and down the team and keep communication and keep consistency. Chris is such a relaxed guy who genuinely is so knowledgeable, but unlike a lot of coaches and business consultants out there, he's knowledgeable because he's done it. He's walking the walk. He's talked the talk. He's been there. He's done it. He's seen it go bad. And now he's actually using that information to, be useful. Be useful to those industries and show which way they can move and how to actually implement this kind of culture within your teams so that everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, so that everyone's trying to achieve the same thing. I also throw Chris a little curveball right at the end and ask him the biggest question in the world: what is the meaning of life? Thankfully, not like all you smart Alex out there, he didn't say 42 like Douglas Adams taught us. Instead, he told us a real reasoning of what the Dalai Lama said of what the meaning of life is. So do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. We've got a bunch of new shows coming out. Love to see you more here. And if you've got any questions or suggestions for guests, hit me up in the comments below on the show. Here's Chris. And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of The Daily Show. As you know, each week we sit down with the best and the brightest that I can possibly find and get my hands on. And we talk about everything from leadership to sales, marketing, anything that we can find from someone far smarter than me that can tell me stuff. This week we have the wonderful Chris Blackwell. Chris and I have been connected for probably 6 to 8 months now. And I have to admit, I was telling him before the show and promising him that I wasn't just bigging him up because he was going to go live, but genuinely every time I've spoken to Chris, there's been a little something where top of my head's rolled back and my mind's exploded as I've learned something new. So I thought it'd be a wonderful guy to have on the show and hopefully can give you some of the value that I get off him on a regular basis. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Jay. How are you?
Not too bad. As I said before, I'm presenter and producer today. So when you see me looking down and panicking desperately, that's why.
That's why.
Indeed. So listen, for those out there who haven't found you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris.
So, Jay, I run my own consultancy called Purpose-Led Performance. So I'm in the business of improving business and improving businesses through what I call Purpose-Led Performance. In addition to that, I co-founded, along with a couple of other people, something called the Purpose Collective. That isn't a commercial venture. We run something called Conversations About Purpose twice a month. We get people from all over the world and we shine a spotlight on business or on leadership, on people doing stuff that's good in purpose. And in addition to that, I am involved with Birmingham Tech. So Birmingham in the UK, not Birmingham, Alabama. And I sort of co-run a ScaleUp program for tech businesses coming through. So not startups, but those looking to go on the next stage.
And that's actually something really interesting that I kind of learned from you, is that you tend to work a lot in the scale-up market. Is that right?
Yeah. So the two things there's two things that I'm passionate about. One is kind of business done right and purpose. And then the other one is kind of growing businesses, and the two come together in my business and in the pursuit. So yeah, so ScaleUps and purpose and the power of purpose in ScaleUps is really my sweet spot.
And I think ScaleUps is such an interesting concept because everyone knows what a startup is, and it's a small thing that's funded and it's trying to become something great. But the idea of a scale up is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm literally just repeating something I heard from you at some point. But a scale up is 200-300 seats or like 100 seats, looking to move to that next step where you're 300 employees, 400 and plus.
Yeah. So the definition can kind of really vary, but it's kind of post startup. Typically, I would say anything above 10 people that is on the path to growth could be a scale up. And I think anything smaller than large could be a scale up, but it's defined by its growth, really.
Right.
And so lots of businesses will just go along and they'll just stay nice and steady, and that's great.
Sure.
And they'll be defined by their size. But a scale up is a business that is on a path of growth. And yeah, I think there's a definition around there that says if you're growing at a rate of greater than 20% year on year for 3 years, then you're a scale up.
Right. I see, because essentially you've got everything in place and now you're making those next moves.
Yeah.
Right. Elephant in the room. Purpose. Okay.
Purpose.
So I used to just think that was a word, and then I found out it's a whole way of thinking. And what I really, really love, right, about your messaging is that there are a bunch of consultants and coaches out there who will say things like purpose and say things like happiness, and that is probably about as deep as they get. However, I know for you, and honestly, this has changed the way GLPro's culture is being built, because we've actually taken, honestly, I as much as I was saying that I'm like this to every guest, honestly, we're listening, Chris, we're listening. But purpose, explain purpose to me, because it isn't just a hippie buzzword. It isn't just something you're throwing out there. It really means something. So what does purpose mean?
So purpose, I always take it right back to the dictionary definition. And if you open a dictionary, these days we don't really open dictionaries, we pick up our phones and Google it. So if you Google the meaning of purpose, it will say the reason that something exists. And actually, it's pretty basic, but also when it comes down to it, it is actually really insightful, both for businesses and then for us as people as well. So, why do you exist? And I guess the thing with purpose is it becomes, as you said, can get quite fluffy. People think it's about saving the world.
Sure.
And for me, it's not. It's just, it really is. It's why do you exist? Why does your business exist? And if you focus on that and you get clear on that, then I think it brings benefits personally, but it also brings benefits from a business performance and growth perspective.
And that's the interesting bit. I've heard purpose talked about personal development. What are you trying to achieve? What is your goals? What's your reasoning? Your why, if you will. Lots of people are talking about what's your why are you getting up in the morning? But the fact that the way that it can be used to actually make a business better, I think is so interesting. And the fact that they're not interchangeable. You have to have the fluffy people, but you know what I mean? You have to focus on the people's purpose. You have to say everyone in
you do. Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point? You're not singing from the same hymn sheet, and then then the company doesn't have a purpose. I think it's so interesting. So how, if I'm a small business, a large business, a scale up, or a startup, how do I start even defining what our purpose is?
So you start by again, just start with that question: why do we exist? And actually, that can really confound people. You could be like, well, why do we exist? I think.
Oh no, we can't. We don't know the answer.
So there's some follow-up questions. Normally when you're a new business, you're pretty clear on it. Okay. Why do we exist? We exist to do boom. And and if it's business, it's about customers. It's about who you're serving. Obviously, there's a very famous Simon Sinek video where he says, the why, the how, and the what. And it actually, purpose is all of those. It is not only why do you do what you do, but it is how do you do it and what do you do. And so I would encourage people to, one of the questions I think is a killer question, is to say, well, when do you feel most proud to work for your business? Because that gives a really strong clue when you're doing what you should be. But
I've seen it as well. I've just absolutely seen that, of when you nail that down and you can actually ask an individual of like, what's great about this? What do you like most? Yeah. And that's usually the thing that they are the most effective at, the best at. They find the least stressful. It can be much more work than something else. But when it's something that you're really proud of and you're really good at, it's actually the easiest thing to do and to sort of, be successful at.
Yeah, absolutely. And, given a lot of people talk about personal purpose, talk about organizational purpose, I'll nail my colors to the mast here. For me, personal purpose is the most important thing, because people are more important than businesses. However, businesses, purpose gets really important because one of you get clear on it, but two of you recruit people that align with your purpose, and all of a sudden you've got this rocket fuel within your organization. And as you said, you're getting people who are doing their best work. And that makes such a difference to performance. It makes such a difference to growth. It makes such a difference. We all spend so much time at work.
Right.
Why do something that makes you miserable?
I've
But
done
the
it.
reality is, the vast majority of people do.
Yeah. It's
And
just
it's
about
such a waste.
paycheck. It's about punching the clock, and then they go out and have this like really purposeful existence outside. And lots of people call it work-life balance. And I know people who are like, well, I don't want my life, my life has got to be much more important than my work. And it's like, yeah, I agree. The reason I go to work is to facilitate my life.
Yeah.
But I'm at work all the time.
So you might as well enjoy it, and you might as well do something that you gain something from.
And the funny thing is like you say, when you actually have people within the business who are working on their own purpose, but that is the larger mission, the larger statement that is in line with that, it's a lot easier. The recruitment drive that we just went through to employ a couple more video editors, that was the big conversation. The big conversation is not, is this person skilled enough? But it was, do they want to do this? And so it's actually the purpose, right? And the two people we've employed, one had been to university to do everything that we do. Great. So you had the skills, but since then had done the life thing and had been working and doing something else, as we, as I did, as we've all done at some point. We've punched the clock and done what we need to do. Now seeing that person in the business, it's amazing because I throw the most hectic thing at him and he's like, oh, cool. That's cool. Because that's really hectic. And he's like, and ain't that great, right? Because his purpose is he wanted to be a video editor. He wanted to do this. And now I'm actually seeing the results from it in there because we're getting feedback the other way. What about if I do this? And I'm like, seems a bit above and beyond. Like, are you sure you can handle that? It's like, well, I've smashed everything else and now I want to do this too. And it's like, how as a business owner, I've wanted that since we started the company. I wanted a bunch of people throwing it out.
Compare a business like that, full of people like that, with a business that's full of apathetic people who don't really enjoy what they're doing, who do the bare minimum. Which business is going to do better?